Okay, we're gonna answer a question here. During my chat, somebody posed a question that because I said I stacked silver years ago, and they asked me, 35 years ago, if you bought silver, which I did, silver either in bars or coins, like these silver eagles, and you held the silver or a Milsurp Plus rifle that you bought back in the 1980s, which one would be worth more money? And I said that's an interesting question. It's kind of difficult because at the time, we'll use this French Mas 36 rifle. At the time, 86, 87, the French government released these guns, and you could get them for, on average, say $70. Okay? At that time, silver was $7 an ounce. So 10 ounces of silver, back in 1987, will cost you $70. $70 would buy you this gun. Now, at about $30 an ounce, okay, that comes out to $300. I've seen these go for $400, $450, and more. Okay, are they worth it, or would I pay that? That's not the thing here. But what I've seen in auctions and what I've seen people pay for these, you would have been better off buying a bunch of these. Okay, in the long run. Now, M1 Garand, different. The M1 Garand was a different story. If you found them was sold as surplus prior to 1968 or something, they did for a while, but the government and the politicians didn't want them to go up for sale. But they were sold by what's called the DCM, Director of Civilian Marksmanship, and if you belong to a club that had these matches, these weapons were sent by the government, and you could buy ammunition from the government and you can target shoot. And if you became a member of the program, went and shot in some matches, you had to pay for it, then you would be eligible to buy an M1 Garand or a carbine. And there were a lot of guys that did that. Okay, back then, back in the 80s, 70s, 80s. And you got them from the government and they're in good shape. So about $400. Whenever you've seen somebody wanting to sell one, they want about $400 for one. Okay. Then, after that big rush after 1986 where they changed the laws, a lot of these guns came back from overseas. And you had Blue Sky imported a bunch of them from Korea or something, and the guns were pretty beat up. Then the price dropped to about $250. And they had M1 carbines also. But you had to be leery because some of them were shot out. I knew a guy that bought a carbine for like $240 or something, and he couldn't hit anything with it. The barrel was so shot out, he couldn't hit anything with it at 25 yards. Then some of them were just beat up, but they shot well. I've had them with import marks on them, and over the years I got rid of them, and I have this one I got from the DCM myself, my Garand. Now, so $400 at $7 an ounce would be 57 ounces of silver, and 57 ounces of silver roughly at the $30 an ounce comes out to $1,710. So with an M1 Garand, the way the prices are nowadays, and the price of silver and the price of M1 Garands had fluctuated, you would have broke even. Okay, so in that scenario, you would have broke even in the Milsurp world. Now, AR-15s, totally different story. Their prices vary, fluctuate during panics, crises. At one time, the guns were worth, or trading for about $650. So for a time they were about $750, and they kind of dropped down to $650. Then there was a crisis or shooting, put it to you that way, and everyone thought, it was during the Obama administration, everyone thought, man, they're gonna bring back the ban, and they went from that $657, shot up. If one gun dealer getting $1,300 to $1,600 for just a generic AR, not a top of the line custom made one, just a plain old gun. It was worth $600 or $650 a week before, and people bought them. Okay, the dealers were laughing, and they bought everyone. People took out loans. I remember one guy was selling them in a pawn shop. I was in there doing some sort of business. They had a gunsmith, so I was having something repaired. The guy come in, said, "Do you have AR-15s?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "They're $700 or something, like $700 a piece." He goes, "How many do you have?" He goes, "I have 3 in stock." He goes, "I'll buy all 3 of them." And there are people that did that, would buy them, put them away, and they were waiting for them to be banned. And 8 months later, I'm at a gun show, and these guys are dragging these things because after the crisis, after they were sold out, the companies went into overtime and produced more, and now there's an excess of them, and the price dropped to about $600. So now this guy's got something that he bought brand new in a package, hoping to sell for $750, borrowed the money, paying interest on the money, and you can buy the same damn thing he had for $600 and pay the sales tax. So we got screwed. A lot of people speculated, a lot of people lost. Same with gold and silver. A lot of people are speculating. Things are strange at this time. Silver has been low, which it kind of shouldn't, but it's gone up, it's gone down. But looking back at it, you would have made out with the Milsurp guns at this point in time. Because another thing, silver, they mine it, they dig it out, they'll make more silver. Okay, they'll make more silver bars, they'll make more silver coins, in the future. They are not going to produce any more of these French rifles. They're not being made, no more. Okay? M1 Garand. I know some people build them, from parts, but nobody is manufacturing brand new M1 Garands. So your Milsurp guns, it's like Springfield trapdoors. The Italian gun makers do make a reproduction. Or did, of trapdoors, but that's a very rare, odd thing. Bolt action rifles, Mausers, and that, they're not making them anymore. So the value will be there. Or silver, if they go and just take the time to mine more of it out of the ground, it'll lower the value of it. Okay, see, that's why it's kind of hard to compare. Now, if you translated the same thing into civilian or commercial handguns and rifles, where you would make out with the Milsurp, you would kind of lose in that thing with guns. Because just common commercial firearms like Glocks and that, they do depreciate like a car or house. The older they get, unless there's something very special about them, if they're just a common weapon and the more they get used, they will depreciate in value. Okay, so it doesn't work that way. That's my thoughts on it, guys. So to answer the question, yeah, you would have probably made out holding on to the Milsurp 35 years, other than me sitting on a stack of silver for 35 years. So I hope that answers the question for you. Alright, thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.